So we completed the top part. Now when we scroll down, we get some more transactions. So now it says we're going to journalize the transactions shown in question assets for Johnson Corporation. It says hint, remember that you do not need to enter C in the check number column of the cash payments journal. Now, when we look up above, remember the law firm was providing services for Johnson Corporation, and now we're looking at our Johnson Corporation. Okay? So September 1st, it says that we signed a contract to receive legal services from Bourget Law Firm for 6 months. We paid cash in advance, $12,000, C672. So I'm going to put in my date. Now, in this case, when I look at my chart of accounts, I'm paying it in advance for those legal fees. So therefore, those are going to be my prepaid legal fees. So I'm going to be debiting that account, and we paid 12,000, or Johnson Company or Corporation did. So debit for 12,000, and then I'm going to credit cash for 12,000. Last thing is my check number. Remember, I don't put my C in there. I just put 672. Next, I have a adjusting entry that I need to journalize for the expense incurred for legal services provided by Bourget Law Firm, December 31st. So here's where I prepaid them for 6 months of work. Here's where I need to do that adjusting entry now to pay for, or not pay for because I've already paid for it, but now I need to look at what I actually paid for work and what is still prepaid. So let's go ahead and do December 31st as the date. Again, we need to figure out how much. So really we did this last time, but we're going to take 12,000 divided by months, meaning that it's $2,000 a month. Okay, then we need to figure out how many months we paid for. Well, we paid for 6 months, but how many months of work did we actually get? So remember, we got September, October, November, December, so that's 4 months. So $2,000 a month times 4 months is $8,000. Okay. Now, this would be considered an expense of doing the business. So when we go to the Johnson Corporation chart of accounts and we look at our expenses, notice we're going to have an expense here that is legal fees expense. Okay, so I'm going to go legal fees expense, and I'm going to debit that for the $8,000 I figured out. And then my credit is going to be to that prepaid because it's not prepaid anymore. Oops. And then credit for 8,000. Now, just like we did up above, it says use the information in question assets to update the T accounts for each journal entry, enter the date, the type of entry, and the amount. If no entry is required, leave the answer field blank. Record entries in the order in which they were journalized. So we're going to start with our September 1st. We're going to do our debit to prepaid legal fees. So I'm going to go down here. The date was September 1st. I don't need to label that one. And we debited for 12,000. Okay, also in that one, we credited cash for 12,000. So here, September 1st, I don't need to label it, and a credit of 12,000. Then I have my adjusting entry. So I need to find my legal fees expense, December 31st. This is an adjustment, so I am going to label it as ADJ period. And I had a debit of 8,000. And then the last one is the prepaid legal fees. I need to credit that account, December 31st, adjustment, and a credit of 8,000. So now when I look, I initially prepaid those legal fees of $12,000, but we've taken out 8,000. So I've still prepaid $4,000 of legal fees, which would be 2 months. So the balance in the prepaid legal fees account is, like I just said, 4,000. we would take that $12,000 debit minus the $8,000 credit, which gives us $4,000. The balance in the account represents, like I just said, that would be 2 months of remaining prepaid legal fees. Remember, we figured out those to be $2,000 a month. If there's $4,000 left in there, 4,000 divided by 2,000 would be 2 months. Let's say check answer. Looks like everything looks good. We can move on to 21.2 on your own. That was the end of chapter 21. So you are going to be working on your application problems and mastery problem. Make sure that you check Daily Planner and Applia to get your due dates.